So, this is what I'm calling the Microgame Minithon. It is going to be 5 or 6 games, depending on how well it goes and how much time we've got. And basically it's just a bunch of really short games that either have credit warps or just ones that are really short in general. We're going to start with Pokemon. This is sort of like a nearly forgotten category of the Japanese-only version of Gen 1. It involves using this door glitch that changes where all the doors warp you. The regular any percent that works on any version has come so far down in time that this hasn't been run for a fair while, as far as I know. Takes around about 5 minutes. Yeah, it's all pretty basic regular gameplay. The only thing that's different is we're going to grab the potion from here. The only requirement to do this route is that we need to get 2 unique items. So we have to get 2 items and they can't both be potions, basically. So we've already got our first item out of the PC, and then we just need to get the second item, which will be Oak's Parcel. Surprisingly, there's no other, like you can't find an ether or something floating around. It's all potions up until you get into Viridian Forest, I'm pretty sure. So Oak's Parcel is the fastest item to get for this route. We're just going to pick Charmander here because it's closest. There's a couple of other reasons, like the fact that it means that he'll pick Squirtle, and that'll stop him from using, stuff like Growl against us, which will slow this fight down. We basically just want this fight to go as fast as possible. We don't care if we win or lose. It's actually faster if we lose by a fraction, so we'll see what happens. We're just going to mash attack and see what happens. And then we're just going to go to the next town and grab Oak's Parcel, and then we'll just do a glitch, which will... the way it works is that it ties the doors in the game to your step count. So basically I believe it's every 4 tiles you walk, all of the doors change where they'll warp you. So you'll see what I mean in a little bit, but basically we're going to execute this glitch and then walk. I can't even remember the amount of tiles. It's something like 60 something, I think. And it will, then by going through a sequence of doors, we'll end up in the Hall of Fame. Hey, we lost. That was actually a pretty quick fight. It's actually quite rare that you lose if you just mash attack. I'm guessing it's like 20% losses or something like that. The sort of holy grail of this category is getting 3 in-game time. You need to get basically no encounters, rip that, and a pretty decent fight, and you need to not make any mistakes. I've already actually made a couple of like bonking mistakes. I even walked the wrong way on the first tile, so there's no chance of getting the 3 for this, but yeah, it's surprisingly tight. I can't remember the amount of leeway that you have, but I think there's like 3 or 4 seconds of leeway over the course of a sub 3 run, or a sub 4 run rather. So we'll run in here, mash through some text and grab Oak's Parcel. And this is our second item that we need. And the thing that makes this glitch possible that isn't possible in the other versions is by going into your item menu in this game, in this version of the game, you can press select and by pressing select you can like move items around normally. If you press select and then don't select where to move the item, the game sort of doesn't like clear that value that you've selected select on an item, and you can then in a battle select to swap the item that you wanted to move with the Pokemon effectively. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go into the item menu, go to Oak's Parcel and press select. If the button will work. No, there it goes. And then we'll just back out of the menu, and now we're going to get into another encounter. So we'll just run in back and forth here for a little bit. And we're just going to go into the Pokemon menu. If we press A now, weird stuff will happen because it's just tried to change the item. we have to then go into the attack menu just once like that for some reason. It like crashes the game if you don't do that. Now most things look normal, but the game's in this like hideously broken state and Oak's there for some reason. And we're just basically executing a certain number of steps, and we're going to walk in here. Now we're at the fly trainer's house, and now we're in one of the guard houses. And this tree down here doesn't actually exist. You can just walk straight through it. All sorts of things are wrong, and basically if we walk into the second door of the Celadon Mart, this will happen, and this is actually the Hall of Fame. So that's effectively time on that game. I'll just go through to the next screen so you can see I'm not lying, because it's just a glitchy, horrible mess, but yeah, there you go. Well, in-game time of 5, that's terrible. So 1 down. That's actually one of the longer runs on this list that I'm doing. I think that probably was about 5 minutes or something. Maybe it was even like going on 6. Next up is Adam's Family for the Game Boy. You'll just have to give me a moment while I load it in. Yeah, plenty of time for donations if you want to do that. Thank you.
All right, Merck gave $5. He said, "Hired goons, now do
Hired
classical
goons?
gas."
Really hard song on guitar, that. Like spastically hard. Anyway, so this is Adam's Family. This is going to go very quickly, and there's a lot to explain. But basically, we're going to do a glitch where we get sort of on the top tile of the map, and that'll get us over this wall that gets us into an area where the entrance for the final dungeon should be, but it's not, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So I've basically got to hit this for a really short amount of time to get this to work. I'm not sure if it's 1 frame, but it's close. There it goes. So you just walk straight over this wall now. And I'm not sure if this is a glitch or a developer tool or what it is, but if you hold up and jump in front of that barrel, it takes you straight to the final area of the game. That room, if you go through the game normally, you're meant to go rescue all the family members and stuff like that. But eventually one of those casks opens, and you're meant to be able to run through and like use it as a door basically. But the room actually changes, like the sprites are all different, so I'm actually not sure whether or not it's a glitch or like some sort of oversight. But the reality is that you can get to the final room in this game super duper easy. This final room is pretty easy, but if I die anywhere here, I'll have to go all the way back to the start of this area, and this is like 90% of the run, so hopefully I don't mess up too much. The goal, just to make the final boss easier, is to get there with 2 hearts left over, so hopefully I'll do that. There is a faster route for this where you you go like really far out of your way and pick up this potion that doubles your speed, but this is far more safe. You just sneak behind this guy and stab him in the back a bunch of times, and that's time for that game. The record for that run, I believe, is something silly like 120 or something really spastically low like that. And that uses the route where you go get the potion. I love "You Are My Hero." It's hilariously like blunt. So that's all I've got for the Game Boy. I've just got to change cartridges real quick. We've got one on the Super Nintendo. If you don't like watching me skip this entire game, there is a full proper run by an actual runner of the game a little bit later on. I believe it is a random NPC is the runner for this later on, who'll be doing the no major glitches category. But we're going to do the pretty standard glitch route. There's also a faster route for this as well. I'm going to be doing sort of the marathon safe easy run that takes about 3 or 4 minutes. But there is an even faster one that involves some frame perfect inputs and pause buffering and stuff that I haven't quite worked out yet. So if you've seen this before in one of these marathons, you might be seeing the same thing again. But yeah, there is an even faster version of this. I believe the route is more of the same. Like it's about clipping out of bounds and then effectively just walking to the exit, but the method of clipping out's a lot faster and doesn't involve a save and quit like I'm going to be doing. I was having trouble with the select button before, and I've got to hit select to open a menu in a little bit, so this might be a little bit rough, but we'll see what happens. This game has, you can get into this weird state where the game, I'm actually really not sure 100% what the details of it are, but basically if you save and quit while you're in mid-air, like from jumping down a ledge, you will be in this state where if you're hit by an enemy, you can then go through a wall. The collision doesn't work quite properly. And because all of the rooms in this game are sort of on the same map, you can just walk straight to the end screen effectively, quite similar to what we did in Pokemon. I should have just gone through that guy. I'm going to have to go through this again in a moment and avoid all the enemies, because if you, after you've set up the glitch, if you get hit, it breaks it. So I'm just sort of taking it safe by default there. Just have to give me a moment while the select button decides whether or not it's going to work or not. There we go, so save and quit. And we just load that up again and go through the same thing again, except this time we can't get hit. Yeah, I'll go around just to be safe. Oh, that's a terrible pattern. All right, so yeah, now if we get hit by an enemy while we're trying to push left into a wall, we should just go straight through it. Like that. And now it's literally just a matter of walking to the credit screen effectively. Where if you watch the very bottom of the screen here, you can see me walking out of bounds, you can see Link's cap. And now we basically just hold up until victory. Yeah, this is a really simple run to pick up if you want to learn how to, break an any percent run really easily. And if you really like it, there is the even faster category if you wanted to go for that. But this is just a good sort of show-off run where you can see how some of these games can just be skipped with crazy means. But yeah, if you want to see the full run of this, I'm not sure of the exact time, but a random NPC will be running the glitchless category of this a little bit later on today. So that's basically it for that. I've just got to change some cables over while I switch over to the NES. So just give me a moment. Hopefully not lose the lapel while I'm at it.
While he's setting that up, we got a $9.99 donation from Frank Walker, and I'll try my best with this impersonation.
Is he from National Tiles?
He says, "Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles."
Hello. Cool. Oops. So I've got 3 games on the NES. Sorry, I've lost my lapel. Just give me a moment. Die Hard, made famous by Kirk Q in AGDQ 2014, 15, something like that. Because I know someone's going to ask, here you go, here is any percent bad ending. And time, there you go. So that was 80% bad ending. We'll be doing any percent as well. This run is, it's hard to find specific information on how some of these encounters are set up. I need a certain group of people to show up with keys and stuff like that, and they appear to be genuinely random. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually the case, but to me they seem random. So this may or may not go well. All I've done so far is gone up to that top floor and I've walked on glass a whole bunch, which has hurt my feet. Now my feet are hurt, it's taking me longer to go up and down these stairs. Every time I go up and down these stairs, the timer will tick down, and once it ticks down to 0, that bottom, the number at the bottom right is going to change to L2 and then to L3, and it goes all the way up to L6. We need to get this up to L3, and that's why we walked on the glass, to slow us down and make it so that these trips take longer. Otherwise, we'd have to do this for far longer to get up to L3. Once we get up to L3, we can go down here and get the detonators, and then we can get up to the top floor and try and get the key for the final area. We'll patch our feet up a little bit because it does actually slow us down a little bit, and we'll hope for some good spawns here. That was a good one. That was pretty good as well. So he had the detonator. And the only bit of randomness left in the run is the top floor. I've actually taken a fair bit of damage there, actually. It should be fine though. The final area, the guys, there's four, as far as I know, there's 4 people on the top floor. We only need one of them, but it's easier just to kill the ones that get in our way. So yeah, sometimes they show up here and it's not great. That went sort of okay. Oh, there's one more. But the key guy hasn't shown up. Every time I get shot from this point on, for the record, I'm going to drop my detonator and I'm going to have to go pick it up. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain. Hopefully the key guy's in here, but he's not. So we're just sort of going to have to mill about and see if we can find him. Usually if I go up and check the door and then come back, he'll be sitting in front of the door. So we'll just see what happens. We need to get the C4 from this room as well. Just on the off chance that I've picked it up and not noticed, I'll check the door. No dice. Ideally, he would have been in that room, and like he's at this perfect angle where if you just walk in and then shoot diagonally, here he is, then you'll kill him every time. So my feet have been, my foot meter, if you look, is down at 0 now, so I'm walking really slowly. Possibly the only game in the entire world that has a foot meter. Go, man, go. This is actually going to make this rooftop section a little bit rough, but we should be all right. We've got a fair bit of health. There we go. That wasn't so bad. I dropped my detonators, though. So there's a spot on the roof where you can't get hurt by these explosions that I'm about to do. So we're just going to drop the C4 here and run over here, and we're going to win, basically. And there we go. You win. Game over. I'm pretty sure the record for that is under 2 minutes. It's spastically fast. The more interesting category, but also the much more dangerous category, is I think it's the all kills category, or it might be like the good, like the best ending or something like that, and it's like 5 minutes and you've got to kill everyone. You waste all the time like you do in this, but then you just go to the top floor and then you have to just annihilate like 30 people, and it's really rough. So I went for the safer one. This game is a really fun game from my childhood. Not a lot of people played it. It's by Rare. It's before Battletoads. It's got a little bit of like very clearly, well, not inspired by because it was first, but yeah, very similar to Battletoads music in it. And it's like just a digging game about exploration and stuff like that, which is quite a rarity on the NES. All of these warps involve doing all this really weird stuff. Like I had to collect that ladder without triggering loose ground tiles. I had to kill that ghost while under the effects of a mushroom within a certain amount of time. So yeah, there's just very arbitrary things that you've got to do to get those warps. They're all pretty easy with a bit of practice, but yeah, they're just a little bit unintuitive. So we're going to buy some dynamite for the later levels. You can actually hope for some good dynamite spawns and skip that, but it's just safer to buy a whole bunch and doesn't take up that much time. And now we're going to see our first bonus level. We're just going to quit out of it, get hit by the first boulder straight away. We don't need the bonus levels. We actually get gems for doing the warps, so the only thing we'd need it for, the bonus levels for is gems, and yeah, we get plenty of those from doing the warps. So we need 2 ladders. We got one in cavern 2. We just got another one there at the top of this cavern. I'm going to do this turbo baby strat so I don't fall. If I fall, it's going to cost me about like 2 minutes, so hopefully I don't do that. Normally I'd try and just like spam through that as quickly as possible, but yeah. Next level's the one with the Battletoads music. It's got it's similar to the ice levels in Battletoads, but it's a little bit different. Relatively easy level. There's just a spot at the end where I'm probably going to die. There's a short, but we're going to take a fall, and it's going to take most of our health just because it's the fastest way there. And then there's these spike things that we're going to have to try and squeeze past. And the jump to skip the spike traps is a little bit unintuitive. You've got to go a lot earlier than it seems. Hey, I made it past, there you go. Usually die on that spike pole, so. Next level's pretty boring. It's full of, it's got all these hidden passages, but since we know where we're going, there's not a lot to say about it. Probably some time for a donation or 2 if you'd like. Or a plug.
Just a reminder, we do have some donation incentives for later today and for the weekend. There's one for Link to the Past that is being run today. You can choose the file name at up to 4 characters long. At the moment, we've got 2 names. Bruh is at 1095 and Yeet is at 3720. You can add a new name if you want or support either of those. On the weekend, Spy versus Spy, there's still a bidding war between black and white. There's no donations for that yet, so if you do donate, remember to add what you want your donation to go towards in the donation. Thank you.
All right, bit of a rough start there, but we should be about fine. We've got a spare life since I didn't die in Cavern 6 like I usually do, so it's looking pretty good now. That start part is quite difficult. The dinosaur dude is hurling eggs sort of exactly where you want to jump, and if you get hit by one of the eggs, it sort of stops your momentum and you just fall to your death and take a ton of fall damage. Dinosaurs really love diamonds in this game, so if you drop a diamond in front of them, they'll just walk straight to it, so that's how we get this guy out of the way. And that's time for that game. Record for that game is about 340, I believe. Most of the time to save in that is like all of this really finicky stuff about jumping and just not losing frames everywhere, basically, and like just everything you do apart from running costs time, like getting out off ladders incorrectly and stuff like that. Yeah, it all just takes little bits of time. I'll just have a look at my time real quick. Yeah, we've got tons of time. So this is sort of a bonus at the end game, which basically I was going to play whether we were doing okay for time or not, basically. So a lot of people have probably seen the Mario 3 wrong warp. There is a pretty consistent setup for it now, so we'll see if it goes. It's still not 100% consistent, and I'm going to have to try and work out the this new TV, and I'll have to hopefully not fall in a hole on the first level. That'd be pretty good. I was actually pretty happy with the fact that I got the launch into the clouds, but hopefully I can do that again. Oh no. There we go. It's probably worth pointing out that I'm not actually a runner of any of these games, so I'm just basically trying to fake my way through every one of them, just knowing enough to get myself by. But I know some of the strats, so hopefully it puts on a decent show. Furiously what? I didn't hear the word after that. This level's really hard to do fast. I don't know how the top runners do this like consistently. This is like the turbo baby strat, and it's like really hard to do fast even this. So I'd always lose P-speed there, and you've just sort of got to mash your way over here. This run is basically, as you'd expect of a warpless run, if you haven't seen the credit warp run before. We're going to get both warp whistles. Normally you'd use both warp whistles to get to World 8. We're going to use it to get to World 7, where we can do a wrong warp sort of glitch. Oops. Oh no. You can, if you do a couple of frame perfect jumps there, I'm not sure if they're frame perfect, it feels pretty close to frame perfect. You can actually grab the leaf without losing your P-speed. It's pretty tight, and I actually got like all of the hard stuff there. I just did at the very end, I did a jump that was slightly too small. It looks really cool when you get it, so I'm a little bit sad that I missed it, but anyway. So yeah, we got to World 7-1. Pipes in this game that you can go up and down have this weird property where if you enter them at a pixel perfect point on the side of them, they'll let you go in the wrong direction. And it just causes the game to get really confused. And what we're going to do is we're going to start putting all of these shells and enemies in very particular places, and we're going to kill these enemies to sort of free up the sprite areas. And basically what we're going to do at the end is we're going to trigger a glitch that just starts executing everything past a certain point in the NES's RAM. And we're going to arrange these shells in very particular places that runs the 3 bytes of code that will jump us straight to the credits if everything works well. And I don't screw up. Oh, dude, I think that's first try. It's a little bit hard to tell. I'm not used to this TV, but I'm pretty sure that was spot on. Deliberate hit there. We want to be big Mario for here. We want to be small Mario by the end. And we're going to take a hit from this shell. So this is the last one we need to line up. We're going to come up here, which will line ourselves up on the right pixel. And we're going to go down while he's still showing up. Now we've just got to go down this pipe in the wrong direction, which can take a little while sometimes. There we go. Now we basically wait and we press A and we see what happens. A few things can happen. The screen can just fill entirely with garbage. I think that means I screwed up, but I'm not actually sure. It happens a fair bit, fairly often when I feel like I've done everything right, so I'm not sure. We might get the credit screen, but it'll be all dark and nasty looking and the game will freeze. That means I did everything right, but it just didn't work. And hopefully what we'll see is we'll just jump to the credits. Simply one button from here. Yay, there we go. And that'll be time for this, block. I'm pretty happy that we got the extra game in and we're still under estimate. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Potato Handle, for all those runs.